Hello, friends, and welcome to the Union Labor Advisory Network. I'm Mike Fina. Today, I'm extremely proud and privileged to have Yuri Perez, ironworker, local 197, Stone and Derrickmen, out of New York City, here with us today to learn a little bit more about her background, history, and experience. So, Yuri, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sitting down with us and to, again, learn about your experience as an ironworker.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, Yuri. So tell us a little bit more. How did you get into the trades? And I know you sent me some information about your background, and it is extensive, but very inspirational. And I'd love to share with the audience a little bit more about how you actually got started and your career path.
So before I even started with the Derrickmen, I was a jack of all trades, if you will. I did everything from like selling cars, waitressing, bartending. I actually got my bachelor's in social work, so I went to college. But I realized that I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. So I also went into the medical field after that. And again, it just wasn't for me. So unfortunately, when I was bartending, that job got me into some trouble and it made me make some terrible decisions. And that was like the turning point because I ended up getting sentenced to serving 8 months in county jail. So when that happened, it was like a wake up call. Like I just kept asking myself, Yuri, why did you do this? Like, how did you get yourself, into this mess pretty much? And like I said, it was a wake up call. I had to sit with myself and just decide that I was no longer going to go down that path, that I had to immediately turn my life around and become someone that my son was proud to call his mom. So while I was in jail, I immersed myself in like self help books. I read the Bible and I enrolled in like pretty much every class that the jail had to offer. And it was in one of those classes that I learned about NEW, which is non traditional employment for women. So the counselor didn't have too much information on it. It was just a piece of paper that explained what the program was, the starting wages if you do make it out of the program. And I immediately held on to that piece of paper and I said, I'm going to call as soon as I get home, which I did. It was actually my first phone call that I made once I made it home. I set up an interview with them and they had me take like a practical test, basic English and math, and I passed it. And before I knew it, I was enrolled in their 8 week program. New actually has a lot to offer for women who have not stepped onto a job site ever. They teach you a lot of things from like trade math, how to read a tape measure, hands on experience with like power tools, a little bit of everything with plumbing, carpentry, electrical. They even have women from different locals come in to speak to us and tell us all about their experience on the field. And it was one woman specifically that came to talk to us. Her name is Tanya, and she's an ornamental iron worker out of 580. When I tell you this woman came in with so much energy and so much passion for what she did, like there's only one way to describe her, and that she's a firecracker.
Yeah.
Like she was literally the only person that got me excited. She was telling us, how she's out there hanging and banging with the guys. And like she showed us pictures of her 30 stories up, hanging off the side of the building. She literally knocked my socks off, and I was ready to go all in. Like, this is it. I want to be an iron worker.
Yeah.
So after that, that week following that, we went to tour Local 40 and 361 and gave us the history about the local, what they do. And it was from that point on, like solidified the decision for me to want to become an iron worker. So the purpose of New is to train you and to get you a direct entry into one of the locals of your choice. And for me, they told me, pick your top three and we're going to see if we can get you in. My top three choices were Local 40 and 361. The last choice was 580. Set up mock interviews and then actual interviews to see if you are a good fit. Unfortunately for me, I wasn't a good fit at the time. The counselors didn't think that I was a good fit to go into one of those locals, and they pretty much said, you're on your own. Good luck. That made me a little sad at the time, but I feel like it just lit a fire under me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go out there. I'm going to get into a union and I'm just going to become the best that I can be. And that's what I did. I went and applied to Local 40 and 361 as well as 580. And the timing of all of this is like so perfect because I graduated new in March and those three locals were taking applications in April. So this is where like the trajectory of my story takes a turn because, to my knowledge, there was only four ironworker locals in New York, the ones that I mentioned, and Local 46, which is rebar, but they weren't taking applications that year, so I didn't apply. But while I was waiting in line to get Local 40 and 361's application, I saw a poster. So I took a picture of it and I put it on Instagram. And an old friend of mine, her name is Yalissa, she actually wrote underneath my post, "Oh, I see that you're interested in the ironworkers. Local 197 start their recruitment soon, so I will keep you posted." I immediately messaged her. I hadn't spoken to her like in a long time, so we hadn't caught up or anything like that. But then when she explained to me that the Stone Derrickmen were also iron workers, I was like, you know what? I don't even know what they do, but I just know I have to apply to broaden my chances and get into the union. As the time passed, I went and I took a test for Local 40 and 361. Unfortunately, I did not pass their test. They were only taking 200 applicants, and there was 3,000 people that applied, and I only placed like in the thousands. So that was a huge bummer because those were my first two top choices.
Right.
Then I heard back from Local 580, and they said I did pretty good. I scored like in the mid 80s, and they were offering me a pre-apprenticeship, which was 1 year, $20 an hour, no benefits. And then that after immediately after that, they'll place you in a 4 year apprenticeship. So that meant me being an apprentice for 5 years until I journeyed out. And to me at that time, like I just knew I couldn't accept those terms because I had a toddler and a husband that was in prison. So I went with my gut and I told myself there's something else better for me. I'm just going to say no. And everybody that I knew, they told me, "You're crazy for letting that opportunity go." I always say it's my mantra: when one door closes, another one opens. 197's applications came out, so I applied. And soon after, they called me in for a physical exam, which I had already been preparing for because my friend Yalissa had already advised me to work out and get strong. So I was working out like Rocky, getting ready for this. I had even taken up rock climbing because I know I had to build my upper core strength because I wanted to, get into 40 and 361, and you have to be able to climb that column. I was in great shape. I aced the physical exam, and then they called me back for an interview. And that day I had to interview with the local's business manager and the president. When I tell you I was so nervous because this was literally my last shot in getting into an ironworker union. I went in there and I begged them, "Please give me a shot." And I remember word for word, I was like, "I promise I will not let you down." And I've never wanted anything more in my life. So by the grace of God, they gave me the opportunity, and then they called me and they told me I was going to be starting the apprenticeship in September.
That's great. That's 197.
Yes, Local 197.
Ironworkers Local 197. Now, who runs that local right now today? Who's that? Who's the business manager?
The business manager is William Hayes.
Yes, yes, the will. And that's an old local, right? That's probably one of the older locals in the country and or New York. And I'm sure we'll
Yes.
get some more details and information. I'm sure we'll put that onto event and information on your bio. How long have you been in local 197 journey person?
I've already been in the business for 6 years. Their apprenticeship is 3 years long. So I've been out of the apprenticeship for 3 years already as a journeyman.
That's great. And I know you've sent me some photos. It is incredible to see you in the field doing some of the stuff that I could never do. When you're talking about like going on high rises or just being on, in the iron, doing what you do on a daily basis. I mean, hats off to you in this particular career of which you enjoy. So, Yuri, can you tell me a little bit more about your experience going through the apprenticeship program for Local 197 when you first started?
So my experience as an apprentice was not easy by any means. I was stereotyped way too many times that I can count. All I kept hearing was, "You're not going to make it. You're not going to last. We've seen too many girls come in and out of this local." There was only one other woman, and she's the president of the union. So I had literally no one, to be able to ask advice for or anything. So I was basically all on my own. All the stereotype did was put a battery in my back. It's like, you know what? I'm going to show you why I belong here and why I deserve to be here and I'm going to do my very best, as an apprentice, because when you're an apprentice, all eyes are on you. So I made it my priority to learn all the moves, memorize everything that I could, and any little information that someone did teach me, I would absorb it like a sponge. And I actually have a great story. My second job I was sent out on, I was actually replacing a girl that started the apprenticeship with me. She went onto this job site and they were not happy with her at all. When I came in, I had no clue that she was there or what she had done, but the foreman was like really hard on me. He was giving me a tough time. He was yelling, screaming at me, sending me up and down the stairs a million times, and I'm out of breath, trying to keep up. And I was just like, why is this man going so hard on me? I didn't understand. But after a few weeks of him doing that, he saw that I can handle the work. And before I knew it, he's got me right next to him, working alongside him, teaching me how to set these panels, which is unheard of for a first year apprentice. And he gave me keys to the shanty, he gave me a walkie talkie. So I'm so glad that I stuck it out, because if I hadn't, then I would have not able to reap the benefits of all my hard work.
That's great. That's great, Yuri. That really is good. And now, how inspirational was it, or has it been, to be able to go through tradeswomen builds or some of those particular conferences and see so many of your peers in these particular fields doing what you're doing, knowing that you are one of two in your particular local, but there's so many more that are out there across the country right now. Um, I had the pleasure of being in DC this year and just seeing so many women. I was so pumped up too, just to seeing the camaraderie, the solidarity, and you out there too, just walking with your banner through DC and just promoting everything that you guys are doing, which was great.
Yeah, this was my first time going. Billy, the business manager, he made it a point for me to go, and I didn't want to go by myself, so he had Alyssa come with me, and it was just such a beautiful experience. Like, you get this high from all the other girls, like, cheering you on, and it doesn't matter what trade you're in, ironworker, carpenter, HVAC, whatever. They're all badass women going out there every single day and killing it. You see so many of them sharing their story, and it's not too different from mine. So I saw myself, a little bit of myself in each one of them. And, like, I get a little emotional talking about it, because they went through so much just like I did. So we were able to, like, make new friends, bond. Now I have friends, for a lifetime now, which
Yeah.
was, amazing.
As do I, just going through those conferences, meeting so many people, and exchanging numbers and stickers and locals and experiences. It really is a great event, and I'm looking forward to next year. I mean, I think it is the biggest conference that NAP2 has ever. So just to be, a part of that experience and just see what's going on in this evolution of how the trades are really working today is really inspiring. And I'm so happy to be able to promote it in the best possible way I can. And then again, hearing stories from you just gets me all pumped up. And we just want to share your message, because you are inspiring other people, and we want to just continuously, make sure people are aware of these jobs. If you're tough enough and you can, get through some of these particular training programs, they're meant to be tough. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Right.
And your field is a very high risk profession, of which you're paid properly for, or maybe not always be paid more, but there's reasons why the pay scale is a lot more than other professions in different fields. And because of that risk, you need to be highly trained. And sometimes those foremen will push you a little bit harder, because they want to make sure that you can handle some of these jobs for the long term. You've grinded through it. Now you're in your sixth year, again, inspiring other people. It's a pleasure to know you, and I'm happy to be able to work with you, today and into the future as well. So for somebody that wanted to get into the trades, and I know you had a different path, but now that you're in there, and I know we saw each other in DC for Tradeswomen Build Nations, there's so many women out there, so many inspiring people promoting what these career opportunities are all about. What would you recommend, or how would you recommend somebody else that would like to get into this field? How do they go about doing it?
Well, first and foremost, girl is interested in getting into the trades, I would say, like, that's the biggest step, because just making that decision, you have to hone in on it and own it and be like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. Focus on the bigger picture of the end goal. You program like new. Maybe you won't have the same experience as me, where they don't put you direct entry. I know a lot of girls have successfully been put in directly by that program. So, that program is really amazing. Now I know, like, across the country, locals that are just opening their doors and taking females like right off the street. I actually have a few girls that follow me on Instagram, and they have messaged me and told me, thanks to you, I had the courage to go and apply to be an iron worker, and now I'm an apprentice. They're always like, can you give me advice on how to do this and that? And even though like we don't have like the same exact trade, there's a girl that's in rebar. I have no idea, what that even consists of, but just like the mentality that you have to have, like a good head on your shoulders. You have to have thick skin, roll with the punches. For me, there was days where I felt like giving up and even crying because it was just so hard, but I just never let go of the bigger picture. This union, like any union, gives you the opportunity to have access to great healthcare, great benefits, a pension, annuity. It's just so worth it.
For me, just meeting people, inspiring people like yourself, and just talking about what these career opportunities are about. Are building New York City skyline, and you mentioned the benefits and packages as well of what your union helps to negotiate for. It really is. As a marketing person or worked in the banking field for 18 years supporting labor, just seeing what these benefits are and the specifically skilled training that you're able to receive, paid training in many cases, it really is something that a lot of people need to know about. And you're seeing that progression or big push in today's world where vocational job opportunities are a really good career path versus going to college. You could take those online courses if your academic, career wants to take you that way, but to make, a great living, some great pay, you are, a role model or a person that taking those particular steps through adversity to a career that you have today that I know you're always smiling and you like the career and the people that you work with as well. And then, like you mentioned, there's other people that are reaching out to you via Instagram just to ask how you took that path or that leap of faith or that step to get that job. I just love it. And I'm just so happy to know you in your field, all the great work that you're doing. I do follow you on Instagram, so I do see the great work that you're out doing on a regular basis, as well as some of the inspirational messages that you have. I just want to thank you for all that you do.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I know you're on IG. I'm going to put that up there right now as well. I had some sponsors and friends rolling on the bottom earlier, but Yuri Perez, Ironworker, Local 197 in New York. IG is ironworker.babe to follow her and check her out. Send some information and follow her career path as well. Anything else you want to leave with the audience today? Any message of inspiration or encouragement? Please let us know.
Yes, there's one phrase that me and my friend, she works out of 580, her name is Pam. When we would have hard times or try to treat each other up, we would tell each other, go out there, prove them wrong, do it twice, and take pictures.
Yes, yes, that's awesome. That is great. You're right. I'm just so happy to know you. And again, I appreciate everything that you do, and I know we'll be, communicating and talking in the future. We'll be reposting a lot of your photos, so we can definitely collaborate and show the world what it is that you're doing in the New York marketplace. And if there are other people or women that are looking to be in the trades or get into a career, new is definitely one of them. And again, I think we talked about or just know about, some of the ARC Apprenticeship Readiness Collective that's underneath the NAB2 as well as the New York State Building and Construction Trades, from helmets to hard hats for veterans, non-traditional women in the trades. You got pathways to apprenticeship for, some of the incarcerated people that are getting out and looking for career opportunities as well. And then consortment for workers opportunities, which Nicole Bertrand is also running that as well. And that is where I see really great opportunities too is, these high school jobs or high school opportunities and learning these particular trades in high school so that they know that these are career paths that they could take, in the future, as opposed to going through 4 years of paying for some college education and then not really understanding what it is that you're going to do once you get out. Taking that particular leap, you're doing it. Well, Yuri, thanks again for everything. And then we look forward to talking to you in the future. And again, appreciate all your support.
Okay.
I'd like to thank all our sponsors for helping to build and promote the ULA network. It is because of you that we're able to support, educate, and promote informative content relevant to labor. Please subscribe, like, and share our channel and media. I'd like to thank you all for your support.